You're listening to Arival audio recorded live at Arival Orlando 2019 and distributed here by Tourpreneur. The rapid growth and adoption of reservation systems has made mission-critical tech accessible to even the smallest operators. But just how different are all of these systems, and how do operators begin to choose which one to use? We'll dive in and pull no punches as we talk tech and what it means to you with the CEOs of 4 major reservation system companies.
Our second day in the theater at Arival, we have CEOs and founders of 4 reservation system companies to discuss the state of technology and what's next for the best part of travel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Atkin, CEO of Rezdy Ruzwana Bashir, co-founder and CEO of Peek, Jason Morehouse, co-founder and CEO of Checkfront, and Max Valverde, CEO of FareHarbor. Coming around me. Welcome. Well, so I have been wanting to do this session for a long time at Arival because, well, since we started, I guess 3 years ago, so it's a long time in startup years, right? As all of you guys know very well. So I just would like to give everyone a sense of who each of you are, your companies and your place in the ecosystem. Very quickly, kind of when you were founded, number of employees, where you're headquartered, Chris?
Sure. Yeah, so for Rezdy, we were founded 8 years ago. We just had our 8th birthday celebration. Started in Sydney by 2 Frenchmen. We're just about 90 people today.
90 people.
And I think that probably answered all your questions.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But you have 2 offices in the US as well,
yeah,
right?
2 offices in the US, so based in Sydney with probably about half the team. And then Las Vegas and Raleigh in North Carolina.
Great, great. Ruzwana?
So with Peek, we started in 2012. Started by a Brit and a German, obviously in San Francisco, which would make a lot of sense. So we started the business there. We're about 175 people.
Wow.
And we've got offices in San Francisco, Utah, and New York.
Wow. Jason?
Yeah, so we started in 2010. We're based in Victoria, BC, Canada, and the team's about just 80 people. Yeah.
Max?
With FareHarbor, we started in 2013. We have over 600 employees. Offices in Sydney, San Francisco, Denver, Boston, and Amsterdam is where our headquarters are now.
And so first of all, just congratulations. I mean, starting a software company and lasting as long as you have and being successful, as you all know, and many of us here, it is not an easy thing to do. So congratulations. I know it's kind of hard-fought success for sure. So Max, I'm going to start with you. Perhaps the biggest issue, I think, in this world of reservation tech has been the acquisitions of companies that took place, I think, in the first quarter, second quarter of last year. So Booking.com, Booking Holdings acquired FareHarbor, TripAdvisor acquiring Booking. So I guess that's why headquarters have shifted a bit for you guys to Amsterdam. So can you tell us a bit about the acquisition? What has that meant for FareHarbor and for FareHarbor's customers?
Yeah, so FareHarbor, 2 years ago, a report in Focusrite came out that we were the largest in the world, and basically Booking at that point, we teamed up with them. What it means is it's a vote of confidence from the largest travel company in the world that this industry is here to stay, that this is going to be the future of travel. Booking Holdings being the largest publicly traded company in travel. And it means nothing but good things for FareHarbor employees. They've let us remain entirely independent. Basically, Booking is a really mature travel company that understands that we need to play fair and have very strong data privacy laws and nice anti-competition things. Expedia and TripAdvisor, Get Your Guide, everybody's very happy with us and the way that we've conducted ourselves, remaining independent within Booking. But I think what it means, what's a little bit larger for the industry and for people out there in the audience, is thinking about what it means for the industry as time goes on. Basically, there's 2 ways to start a reservation software. You can go really low cost, low monthly fee situation and you're a lifestyle business, and that's like a Bookio or maybe an Indexic, and they're going to be around for a really long time. But then if you look into the history books of companies like Zerv, who raised $34 million, they went out of business. You look at Zozy, who raised $60 million, and they went out of business. I mean, it's a really tough game to play the other side, where you try to grow something really, really large. And it's not easy, as everyone up here can attest. But eventually, you need to team up with someone big to kind of help not only bankroll you, but help you take it to the next level and learn how to scale to over,
But there's also been a lot of questions and criticism about the acquisitions in the industry, also from some of the reservation system companies that have not been acquired. So Jason, what do you think? These acquisitions, have they been good for the industry and for operators, or not?
Well, it's been good for Max and Yalty, but I think it's. I agree with most of the comments there, but I think if there's a slight conflict in the way that it's been aligned with the reservation systems and the OTAs, who are our partners, and I think that creates a little bit of confusion and some anxiety from operators. So,
what is that confusion and anxiety?
Well, I think the other three of us are independent operators, so we get to set, our goals based on our operators, and the other two systems are kind of somewhat driven by the top-level OTA, which I think there's a conflict there that some people are uncomfortable with.
Ruzwana, what's your take on that? Would you agree?
Yeah, I think the reason that a lot of operators have been talking about this issue, and that question was raised a lot, is because people are concerned. They're concerned about their data and privacy. They're concerned about the pricing power that OTAs have exerted in other industries. So if you look in the history books, the history on hotels hasn't been great with OTAs. And so I think there's deep concern from operators around the power and influence a reservation system being owned by an OTA can have, and how much your data could be utilized in the future, especially if you're getting more and more locked in. And so I think we see those concerns. I think those are genuine concerns that have been played out in other industries and having issues, and it's part of the reason that we really appreciate being independent. I think that I'd agree that in order to invest in products, you want to make sure that you're able to do that. We've raised about $50 million from some great investors in the Valley, the founders of Google and Twitter. And that's
but I think something
helpful.
that's more concerning, think about Zerv.com, and when they went out of business, they were trying to run an OTA and be a res software under the same roof. And Peek.com also has an OTA arm where...
So we're not an OTA, but we do work with Yelp and Groupon in order to help our operators to get distribution beyond.
I want to ask, though, on the concern around data sharing, so what is the specific concern? Is it that the OTA now has access to operators' data and can use that to their...
And pricing patterns, the data around buying behavior, customer data. So there's a lot of areas of concerns that people have around that. And also not what's happening today and what is being committed to today, but what might happen over time. And there are, tendencies for these things to change. And so that's the concern that we've heard from a lot of businesses.
But honestly, Douglas, this is honestly just fear-mongering at this point. We're at a large publicly traded company with data privacy lawyers surrounding us. Kayak.com resells Expedia all the time. Modern travel companies play together nicely. And just because we happen to be owned by the largest travel company that also owns Kayak.com, OpenTable, Priceline.com, Booking.com. It's just more inventory for the other OTAs to work with. It's also an act of vote of confidence that we're going to be here for a long time, and Booking believes in our product roadmap to,
So
the only pushback I'd say is that Get Your Guide did, the COO of Get Your Guide did come out talking about these issues and his concerns, and in advising people to actually go with independent systems. So I do think there is a concern in the industry, and there are people, including an OTA like Get Your Guide, who are coming out and making statements that they do have concerns. So I don't think everybody's aligned on that, but I think it's good that we're having the conversation so we can help operators.
And I do want to also, because with regard to Get Your Guide, and there's Chris too, but just one quick follow-up just for Max. So with regard to data sharing, does FareHarbor share operator system data with Booking.com in a way that...
Absolutely not. We're on a completely different stack. We have Chinese walls set up and agreements that we have shared with all of our different OTA partners, how we would conduct business and how data will be used. We also have anti-competition lawyers, again, surrounding us, watching our every move. So it's completely unfounded, and all it is, you know, I don't know. That's all I'll say.
So Chris, well, I'm sure there's more to be said about this. So Chris, so Rezdy is kind of in the middle here a little bit. So okay, you're independently owned. However, you are certainly aligned, right? So Rezdy and BookingKit are part of this Get Your Guide Preferred Partners program. So why are you doing this, and kind of what's your take on this debate?
Yeah, look, I think there's quite a difference between the two. I don't see it as the middle. I think what we've done is formalized one of the many really strong relationships we have with the OTAs. So we work very similarly with Get Your Guide as we do with Expedia, as we do with a lot of the other OTAs. And so it's just formalized and put out there, which we're very happy to be a part of. So I think it is quite different in that sense, because we're there as an independent business to support all the suppliers that work on our system.
But with the preferred partnership, like what do you do with those operators that are part of that partnership that's special for them as opposed to your other customers?
I mean, the key part of the partnership really is making sure that the Get Your Guide teams in the field have got the information to be able to make a good recommendation. I think that the guys from Get Your Guide were keen to make sure it wasn't single businesses, and so there's obviously BookingKit in there as well. And so they're informed to be able to help someone make a good decision. But I think they're also happy to recommend other systems if they feel that it's more suited. So I think the intent is to make sure the supplier is making the right decision.
So we did some work and we identified about 150 reservation system companies in this industry. Then I think others have told us, well, we missed another 100 companies or so. So how many systems can this marketplace support, and is there going to be more consolidation? Ruzwana?
I think that in the end, there's a reason that you have only 4 of us on stage, right? I think whenever you have any of these industries, people end up coalescing around a set of players that might have the most scale and also are investing the most in the product, in going out and working with as many businesses as possible. And so I think that I think more of what will happen is less consolidation and more just the growth in the industry. The space is so large and there's so much opportunity for businesses to be coming online. I think the biggest thing that we're seeing is that operators really do need to come online. You need to have real-time inventory. You want to have a multi-channel approach where you're selling with lots of different people, and also actually having a big presence on your own website. So I think more of what we'll see is actually just the growth of the largest players, who I think will continue to scale. I don't know that there's that much more consolidation to come, because a lot of the smaller players are very small, as Max mentioned there.
But there has to be some change though, because so you've raised capital. I think Checkfront as well has raised, other companies in Europe. So at some point there has to be kind of exits or next steps for these companies.
I can sum this up for you right here, and it sums up the last topic too. Right when the acquisitions happened, there was a lot of fear, and it was, wait a minute, how is Booking going to play? Are they going to do something sketchy with FareHarbor and try to use FareHarbor to get ahead? That was unfounded, and that's why all the fear has kind of gone away. And at this point, we've shown that FareHarbor is going to play fair and run it like a grown-up hotel company. What ends up happening is all the exit opportunities are pretty much dried up. And like I said before, you can do a low, lean business, or you can go for the big company. And that's what we've done. And it makes me think of something that Mark Cuban told me when we were talking about FareHarbor. He said, when you run with the elephants, they're the fast and they're the dead.
Do you like what you hear on this podcast? If so, join us at an upcoming Arival event to hear from the brightest minds in travel, get hands-on learning to help advance your tour, activity, or attraction business, and partake in the best networking ever. Head to arrivalevent.com to register and to learn more.
Okay.
Jason, is there going to be more consolidation?
I'm not sure which elephant we are.
I think it's I mean, I'm sure there's lots of exit opportunities that are out there. There's a ton of interest in the space, both from OTAs, but you know, there's a lot of more kind of eyeballs on the space, and I think that's kind of untrue.
Chris?
Yeah, look, I think that we've seen there's still so many operators that aren't online. There's so many parts of the world where people aren't connected and they're not trading with their partners in an automated way. So I think this is still very early in the game, and I think that there's plenty of exits that will develop as the market matures. But I think the idea that big businesses are going to spend a lot of money and not look to utilize that asset for their own interests is kind of a naive one. We know that's going to happen. It's just a question of which way. Is it in pricing? Is it around data? Is it around preferred distribution? I think that's the question as an operator thinking around that software. You need to think about how it's going to affect your business.
So I want to open up for audience questions. Next topic I'd like to address is pricing. There's been lots of changes in kind of pricing models over the years. So I believe Rezdy is a subscription-based pricing model?
We're a hybrid, so
hybrid?
A small subscription fee and then an element of transaction that you can either charge on to the end consumer or bear yourself as the supplier. So you've got that flexibility.
Okay. And Ruzwana, your model is the consumer kind of booking fee for website bookings. Is that correct? And Max FareHarbor as well. It's the consumer booking fee for website bookings.
Correct.
And so Jason, Checkfront had been subscription, I believe, in the past, but you've introduced a different model. So can you walk us through that, and what was the reason for the change?
Sure. I mean, we've been subscription-based since the get-go. It's the model that we believe is most operator-centric. And
why is that?
It just makes more sense for stable businesses to pay a fixed fee, in our opinion. And we have 5,000 operators that agree with that model around the world. The introduction of the subscription plan was really just to capture the portion of the market that didn't yet want to pay user fees because they hadn't yet reached scale that made sense for that. So we see it as kind of an entry-level plan where operators who are just getting up and running, they're just starting their business. They don't want to get a bill. They don't want to get an invoice. They're not yet ready to commit to a subscription. We allow them to start on a kind of convenience fee-based model to hopefully they'll eventually convert over to a subscription.
What I find interesting though is that every one of you on stage and most other reservation softwares, when we started FareHarbor, we were the booking fee from the beginning, the only one doing it, and everyone said, that's horrible, that's going to ruin your business. Jason, you had a white paper that you took down off your website recently saying how horrible booking fees are. Now everyone's coming to the booking fee, and at the beginning of FareHarbor, we weren't smart. We didn't do it because we're smart guys. We just chose a booking fee, and it created our DNA of being invested in growing our clients year over year.
So Max, here's one question that was actually submitted by an operator in advance said, why don't you consider offering multiple pricing models, and several specifically said we might consider using FareHarbor, but we don't want to have the consumer booking fee. So why don't you offer the option?
Yeah, because it is who we are. Our DNA is growing our clients year over year. When I'm looking at 2020 guidance and I need to tell Booking Holdings how much money we're going to make, and I need to juice it up 20%, I don't think about how we can squeeze our clients. I think about how can we grow our clients' online bookings by 20%, and let's pump some tools into our clients to grow them. If you're a monthly fee software, anytime someone calls into support, that is an expense for you. When someone calls into support for us, our 24/7 support, this is an opportunity to help you grow. It's just in our DNA. So if you start as a monthly fee software where customer support is a cost item, it's in your OpEx, it's very hard to transition. And what I'd like to know is why you guys finally decided to switch over and to the booking fee, and why you whacked it for so many years.
First I want to let Jason respond, but then we'll discuss.
So the subscription fee the booking fee is not our recommended option. And so when people are coming in and they're asking for optionality in pricing and business models, the booking fee is not the one that we recommend. These are not, as we know, and most people in the room, high margin businesses. So we feel that if a customer is willing to pay $106 instead of $100 for a tour, most of that should go to the operator and not the booking system. We just feel fundamentally in our DNA as well that there is some unfairness there when you reach reasonable scale.
But what happens if that company was doing $1.8 million on their website before FareHarbor? The next year they do $4.5 million.
Well, we have the same use cases. We have the same case studies of customers that have come in and tripled their business on a subscription plan.
Ruzwana, so what's your response to Max's comment about kind of the switch?
Oh, we've had a booking fee for years. I think it aligns incentives. It's one of the reasons we've been really innovative in our product, and it means that we've focused a lot on conversion optimization of the booking flow and a lot of features that actually enhance a merchant's growth. So typically businesses that work with us will see their revenues grow 15 to 20% every year based on the work that we're doing on the back end. So it really aligns us and it allows us to put a lot of resources into the technology. And I think that that's really been a huge way in which we've been able to add to merchants. We were named one of Fast Company's most innovative companies in travel, and a lot of that innovation is because we're aligned around how is it that we can make companies grow and we can give them tools that really matter to them. And it really is about driving additional revenue. And so I think that's the reason we've been using it for years, and I think it's the right model. It's a win-win. I also think it's great when businesses are impacted by seasonality. So you're not having to pay lots when your business isn't very busy. And I think there's a lot of talk of recession. And next year, I think one of the things that a booking fee does is that if there is a recession and for some reason your business isn't doing as well, you know that you're not going to be having to pay this fixed fee that's large, right? So I think there's lots of ways in which it's very flexible, and it's a win-win for businesses.
And Chris, so you're sticking with subscriptions?
Well, so we've got the hybrid. So there's a small subscription fee, which probably accounts for about a third in general of what people pay, and about 2/3 is based on a transaction fee. As I say, that can be charged on to the end consumer, or it can be borne by the customer. So we just give them flexibility. I mean, there's no right or wrong fee. Ultimately, the suppliers, being an independent business, we can give them the choice, and that's what we look to do. And then how they want to play it out themselves is really up to them. And I think that the thing that we, similarly to Jason said, the idea that you could have charged the customer 6% more than you are charging, and you don't have the ability to choose whether to suffer only a couple of percent of that to pay a different booking software, is a decision that the supplier can make. But we think that it does sink in with the idea of giving a level of sort of joint focus in what we're doing, so that we're helping them grow both their direct sales, but we have a very extensive set of channels on the distribution side as well, and we help a business to grow that way as well, because we're ambivalent as to how that business grows.
So there are more than 100 companies in this world of reservation software. How does an operator go about choosing between the 150 plus? So Chris, what guidance would you give to an operator who's evaluating a system?
I mean, you guys have done a fantastic job in the last couple of arrivals of having sessions that give really good advice. I think they've been great sessions. I think really stopping and thinking about what your needs are, is the first thing. Be really, really clear. What's a non-negotiable that you need to have, and then what is something you can live without? Because anyone that tells you they're going to solve all your problems, they're probably not telling you the truth. Because we work really hard with the features that we develop, but there's so many different types of needs. The walking tour has a completely different need from the helicopter tour, and so therefore you can't, however sophisticated the system, solve all problems. So be really, really clear about what you need. And then thoroughly research. Go and talk to other businesses that are using that software. Do some free trials. Stop and think about the pricing plan and what works best for you. And then, when you've done that assessment, dive in there and stick with it. And you probably will have made a good decision.
Ruzwana, do you have a perspective on that? What advice would you give to operators?
Yeah, I think it's just defining your priorities, right? A lot of what we hear from businesses is they want to improve the customer experience. And that's great. If you're improving your customer experience and you've got a lot of paper waivers, then great, you want a system that integrates the waivers and doesn't have additional fees for that. Or you care a lot about improving your customer experience, you want really great business intelligence tools. So I think it's really just thinking through what your priorities are. For a lot of what we hear from businesses is, I want to get more bookings directly from my website. So you want marketing integrations, you want to make sure you're getting a lot, smart reviews. We have, to help you get more reviews and things like that. So I think it's really just defining like what your 2 or 3 biggest priorities are, and then making sure the systems patch in for that and they have the functionality you need to optimize for that.
Okay, so we have a question from the audience.
Yeah, my name's Torin. I'm with the Flying Bike in Asheville, North Carolina. And for the record, we use FareHarbor. I just, first of all, wanted to comment and say thank you guys for this heated debate. It's probably been the most fun session I've been at the entire time. So it's been exciting, and I think it makes me as an operator feel wanted, seeing you guys go at it with so much fire. And I guess then the point that I want to bring up, what's that?
I'm pretty sure you're wanted.
Yeah. And so the point that I want to bring up or ask and throw out to you guys to comment on is, could you reduce your rates?
How do you reduce the rates on the free software?
I'm sorry?
How do you reduce the rates on the free software?
I'll take that since you're on FareHarbor. It's basically what you need to believe, and I think that you do, is that every year that you're with a company that is on a booking fee, that booking fee company is putting as much time, energy, and money into growing your business year over year. If you look at the foundation of the company that you're with, thinking about, are they going to be around for a long period of time, and what are their motivations? Our model is set up on that 6% booking fee, and everyone else here has their pricing models. It's basically, our 600 employees are not here for anything else to help you grow, and it's in there. It's baked into their payroll there. So I mean,
I think that was a no, just to be clear.
It's definitely not.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jason, how about you?
Well, I mean, just to add to that, I mean, are we growing operators' businesses or are we growing ResTech? And I think there's a bit of a gray line when it comes to how much consumers are paying, which we believe fundamentally is operators' margin and revenue. We start at $49 a month, and we've been in business for almost 10 years. So we're not going anywhere. We're fully sustainable, and we've raised like 10% of what has been raised.
But you're not going to reduce your. Okay.
So with our flex plan, there is optionality in the fee that's there. So yes, we will if you speak with us.
So you have one more question from the audience, I think, over here.
Hi, Lisa with Catalina Food Tours and Catalina Tours. The thing that we've been talking about this week has been that change is inevitable, and it seems that most tour operators at some point would need to switch from one company to another. I wondered what your process is and how your companies deal with that change, and specifically wondered if FareHarbor had stopped the process of holding reservations hostage when companies try to change from them.
Max, you want to start with that?
Yeah, can you elaborate on holding the reservations hostage?
Sure. We used to work with you for Catalina Tours, which is an OTA that we have on Catalina Island in California. And when we decided to change to a different company, we were locked out of systems and told that all reservations would be refunded. And it was only under threat of legal action that we were able to then gain access and get a report of those sales. About 350 reservations, while our owner's husband was in the hospital and I was dealing with the operation myself.
Oh, I actually remember this coming in, so thank you for the question. Basically, it's just a general process of if you have a lot of outstanding reservations, and basically if you were to go belly up right at that point, then we're not only responsible for the 6% booking fee, but we're technically the underwriter for all those future transactions. So I remember working with you on this, and we basically wanted to make sure that we had some sort of capital to make sure that if you were to, stop providing services, that basically $75,000 of chargebacks wouldn't come directly onto us. So I think we worked this out. You were a very unique case because of the situation, but no, there's no holding bookings hostage. I think this is a standard practice in the industry. When you have a lot of outstanding bookings, it's tough when you're the underwriter for your future bookings.
It didn't seem like it was an isolated case, perhaps from some of the applause, Max. I think that there's definitely a perception that I hear from suppliers around it, you guys being a tougher business to switch. I mean, whether to our own sort of detriment, it's a pretty easy switch out from a Checkfront or a Peek or from a Rezdy. Whereas I think, Google Analytics data, your website, there's a whole bunch of things that I think make it a much harder exercise to leave FareHarbor and probably why you've been so successful in terms of growth.
Yeah, I mean, I think also, if you think about it, basically when you are switching a reservation software, it's in our best interest to have that be a nice, seamless exit. And I'm sure that there are some people in the audience who have left FareHarbor and have come back and can probably speak to that experience. That was an isolated case of a very tough situation. I think we resolved it to your satisfaction. But at the end of the day,
Obviously not.
It was resolved. Maybe still some ill will, but it was resolved to her satisfaction. The best.
So we run over. So we're out of time. But I have one final question. I'd like to go down the line. And this is one that was submitted from an attendee in advance, and I would like a yes or no answer. Chris, I'll start with you. So the question is, salespeople, so this is an operator talking about salespeople from reservation systems. Salespeople in the sector spend a lot of time criticizing competitors. Often it's not nice. Will each of you commit to directing your sales team to focus on their own products and stop dissing competitors?
I think we do that already. I don't think that's something that you find when people deal with Rezdy. And I'd be surprised if that was a criticism that was reflected on our teams. I mean, we have 90+% of the conversations our sales team have are inbound. We're not calling people every Thursday morning at 11 o'clock. And so, we continue to operate the way that we want to, which is to work with the supplier, to give them, as I talked about before, the answers that they need to make a good decision about the right software.
Ruzwana?
Absolutely. We completely agree with that. I think there have been a couple of players that have behaved quite badly in the industry, and I think it's not good for everyone else involved. And so that's always been the message for our sales team for many years, and it's really, really important to us to have that.
Jason?
100%. Yeah, we're very value-driven in that regard. And I think all of us have each other's contacts, numbers, and cell phones, and we will sometimes trade things when there's a bad actor in a sales team, but it's not fair to the operators, and it makes us all look bad, and it has to come from us.
Max?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I started our sales team and helped grow it and made all the foundational things that we do, and we are 100% above board, and that's no way to get ahead by dissing somebody else. So unacceptable. And if it comes up, let us know. Email our COO, Ted, at FareHarbor.com, and we'll take care of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Max, Jason, Ruzwana, Chris, thank you.
Are you interested in being a part of the Arival community of tours, activities, attractions, events, and experiences? Then join us at one of our events in the US, Europe, or Asia Pacific. Head to arivalevent.com to learn more.